Welcome to the Fane of Fantasy. In today's video, I decided to merge two different aspects of the same topic into one. The first one is something some of you have emailed me about. I got the question how I find inspiration for my stories. So that's the first topic. But then when I thought about it, I felt like I needed to add something to it because frankly, I struggled to answer the question. So more on that in a second. So what I did was I built a list of 10 things you could do today to find inspiration. So I sat down and thought about how I wanted to answer this question I had received, and to be honest, it was much harder than I thought. And well, just recording a video to say that it just kind of comes to me seemed a bit lame. I think we can all agree to that. So I thought some more about it and still couldn't come up with a single source that drives inspiration and creativity for me. I guess authors can get this kind of dead stare in our eyes when we are asked where our stories come from. The truth is that we have no idea. There I said it, no idea whatsoever. But that doesn't mean that it comes from nowhere. So I went back to my desk once more and I kept thinking. And as a result, I distilled 10 ways where inspiration can come from, and in truth, ideas for my own stories probably arise from a combination of these and from my own subconsciousness. Every writer needs to find inspiration in order to produce inspired writing. And sometimes it can come from the unlikeliest sources, but when you're inspired, it's much easier to create. So let's go find where this inspiration is lurking. So here's my list of 10 things you can do today to get inspiration. Number 1 is books. Maybe my favorite overall. I read fantasy books, and the stuff other authors have created will often give me inspiration in one way or another. And try to read different authors instead of just a steady few. You might be surprised what you find. Number 2 is Netflix, or movies and series in general. But I use Netflix. So sometimes while watching a movie, a character will say something so interesting that I have to make a note of it. I'll just know that I can cook up a really great scene on a variation of whatever happened in that scene. Or it can just be the incredible camera work, the way that a face is framed by the camera, or the beauty of the landscape captured on film, and stuff like that. Regardless, when it hits me, I always write it down without delay. Otherwise, the moment passes and I will forget about it. Number 3 is fantasy pictures. Some sites on the internet have the most amazing collections of fantasy pictures. So scrolling through these can often give me a burst of inspiration. I've listed some of the ones that I use in the description field below, but I'm very curious to any cool ones that you found too. So please leave a comment and let the rest of us know what great sites are out there that you have found, because there are many and we would like to see them too. Number 4 is friends. So what I mean by that is real life conversations with friends and family can also spark ideas. What happens in real life can be twisted and turned into something very useful in a fantasy setting. I think for me, this part often happens without I'm really thinking actively about it. so I probably kind of internalize it. But I also know a few who play video games, and when they talk about the games and what happens in the games, that can sometimes help facilitate some ideas too. Number 5 is nature. So when truly stuck for ideas, a walk outside helps a lot. When I wrote Desolation, I had a lot of trouble coming up with an initial hook for the book that would be interesting enough. And the more I thought, the less I could come up with. So I went for a walk, and the inspiration kind of came to me out of the blue. Suddenly, it just struck me, and I emailed it to myself actually right there on the sidewalk. Number 6 is history. If you study some of the great people throughout history, you will find that their actions truly change the course of time. So take that, look at that and let it inspire you. Number 7 is sleep. Some of my best ideas come to me when I sleep. I keep a notebook in my nightstand, and I write down everything I can remember on those nights where dreams have granted me some kind of inspiration. It just hits me after a good night's sleep, and I better write it down or else I will forget. Number 8 is exercise. When I do exercises in the morning, I find that it stimulates my brain. It takes a bit though, so the first 15 minutes my thoughts are still trying to come up with things or plan things, but as my pulse increases, it becomes difficult to keep a laser sharp focus, and at that point some ideas sometimes occurs out of nowhere. Okay, we're getting there. Number 9, religion. Whether you are religious or not matters little for this point. Religions in our world have ideas in them that are beautiful and inspiring, and many cultures have multiple gods. If you read about it, it can pay off in terms of inspiration. I personally particularly like ancient Greece or Greek mythology, but that's just me. Number 10 is YouTube. If you search on this fantastic platform here of ours for example, fantasy mythology or fantasy lore, and start watching videos, some ideas usually comes to life as a result. So that was my list of 10 things that inspires me or helps me get inspiration. I'm glad I was able to come up with something after all, and didn't just release a video where I said, I don't know. One important thing though, don't wait for perfection. It's more than likely that it will never come. So perfectionism can work against you and can stop you from completing just about anything. Instead, I would say look for inspiration and then work to make the inspiration or the idea great instead. I can only speak from personal experience, but I hope that this video has inspired you in some way. For me, ideas usually begins as a concept about something I would like to write about. It could be dragons, for example. And then I kind of develop from there. So once I start world building based on that particular concept, whatever that is, then things usually starts to happen. If you like this video, hit the like button below. I would love it if you could subscribe to get more videos every single Monday. And if you really want to join in, then head on over to Patreon. There is a link right here on the screen, and in the description field below too. Check it out. For as little as $1 a month, you will get into the reward program. See you next Monday.